What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TCG Madness. In today's video, we're going to be doing an updated deck for Altered TCG. We're going to be looking at the Muna hero Teija Nauraa. Real quick right now, if you guys can do me the really big favor, please hit that like button. If you're new, consider hitting that subscribe button. Don't forget to also hit that notification bell so you guys never miss when I drop a review. If this is your first time here, I'd like to personally welcome you. If you guys are unfamiliar with how I do these videos, it's real straightforward. We're going to be taking a look at the hero itself. Then we're going to take a look at the deck itself. And if you guys want to pause the video right now so you guys can take a look at the deck. And if you guys want to sound off in the comment section, like this deck, don't like this deck, if you would change something about it, what would you change and why? And at the end of the video, we're going to also go ahead and take a look at the stats of the deck. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it with the hero. This is Teija Nauraa. The first character you play each afternoon gains 1 boost. Pretty straightforward. This deck is going to be synergized around 3 things: anchored, boosted, and plants. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go through the actual deck itself. Starting off, we have 2 copies of Spindle Harvester. It's a 1/1 for a 1/0/0. It is a plant. It also gains anchored. Next up, we have the Adefaction Rare Ogun, 3 copies. This is a 2/2 for a 2/1/1. All plants you control gain a boost, so pretty good and great synergizing piece there. Next up, my personal favorite is Sneezer's Shroom. It's a 2/2 for a 1/1/1. When you play it, it gains anchored, and then at noon, it also gains a boost. And if you pair it up with your hero, it can gain an additional boost. So it's a really good card and definitely a staple in pretty much every Muna deck. Next up, we have Kodama. It's a 2/2 for a 3/3/3. When you play out of your hand, it gains a sleep. A sleep is like pseudo anchored, except for when you play it on that first day and it has a sleep, you're going to pretty much ignore all the stats. So pretty much it doesn't even exist on the board at the moment. So nice card there. It is a plant as well. Next up, we have Youngsu Burden Weaver. This is actually one of the very few non-plant cards we have, but it is a 3/3 for 3 across the board. If you control 2 or more plants, it's going to gain 2 boosts. So definitely a good synergy piece there. Next up, we have Daughter of Yggdrasil. This is the rare version, 3 copies of this card. It's a 3/3 for a 5/5/3. Each player draws a card. I wish it was just me drawing a card, but take what you can get. Next up, 3 copies of Jasenia for a 3/3/0/2/2. When you play it, it gains anchored, and at noon, it gains another boost. So pretty much another Sneezer's Shroom, just with a higher mana cost and not as good as stats. Next up, we have Aloe Vera for a 3/3. This is a 2/2/4. You may pay 1 to give it anchored, but at noon, it also does resupply. Love this card right here. Just a simple 1 extra mana to gain it anchored is all you need. So I do like this card. Next up, we have Burden Back. It's a 4/4 for a 5/5/6. I am Defender unless you control 2 or more. Unless you control 2 or more other plants. So plants are very low costing for the mana. Great stats for a 4/4. Just make sure when you play this card, you do have the 2 other plants, so this way you can gain all of that and hopefully advance your expedition. From the newer set, we have Lishai. It's a 5/5 for 1 across the board. It does have Gigantic, but it also has I gain 1 boost per expedition in the forest. So really good card here. This card can definitely get out of control, and it has Gigantic. The trick to this card is making sure you continue to give it boost and try to find a way to give it anchored. And then last but not least, we also have Hydrasenia. It's a 7/7. This is the rare version. 2 copies of this card, 0 across the boards. It has Eternal X, and when you play it anywhere, it's going to gain 4 boost, and at noon gains 4 boost. So really nice card here, and that rounds out all the characters for this deck. Again, sound up in the comment section if you guys would change anything about it. For the spells, we have 2 copies of Beauty Sleep for a 1/3. Target character gains a sleep. Again, a little more of pseudo anchored, so I like this card in here. We also have 2 copies of Meditation Training for a 2/3. Target character with a hand cost of 3 or less gains anchored. And then last but not least, we have Nurture for a 2/1. Up to 2 target characters each gain 1 boost. So that rounds out the spells. For the permanents, from the new set, we have Floral Tent. It's a 1/1, has resupply, and if an anchored character would leave my expedition during the afternoon, it loses anchored instead. 2 copies of this card. Perfect card in this deck. We also have the permanent Bountiful Meadow for a 2/2. The next plant, tap it. The next plant you play this turn cost 1 less. Again, almost every card in this deck is a plant, so this goes perfectly in here. And then last but not least, I do have Icebound Taiga. I'm not sure if this card is actually needed, but I threw it in there because I think this actually works pretty well, and it gives you some better stats. It's a 3/3. When you play a character, if it's in the Forest Expedition, it's going to gain 1 trial counter. When I gain my 3rd trial counter, sacrifice me. If you do, create a Dragon Shade 5/5/5 illusion token in target expedition, then it gains anchored. So that rounds out the entire deck itself. You guys can see everything except for these top two, which is all cards owned and global validity. Everything else is completely legal. For the stats, you guys can see right here, heavies on the 2s and 3s for both hand cost and reserve cost, and the attributes 57, 58, and 58. Rounds out beautifully. As long as you're boosting all this, you can easily have 60s across the board, and that Icebound Tiger will also give this a nice boost as well. Full breakdown, 6 spells, 6 permanents, and 27 characters. That's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did make it this far in the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're new, consider hitting that subscribe button, and also sound off in the comment section if you like this deck and don't like this deck. If so, why? Not a whole lot is changing for this deck as far as being an updated version from set 1 to set 2. This hero in particular didn't get a bunch of supports, also in my opinion the weakest of the Muna heroes. The other two Muna heroes definitely got a lot of more support for them, so it'd be very interesting when we take a look at those ones and what has changed. That's going to do it for this video. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next time.